Yeah, I guess my screen is visible, right? Okay. So should I start now or wait for 10:10? All right. So let's start the session. So first of all, today we are going to start with DIA Masterclass Portfolio Building. So I have already, shared a list of topics that I'm going to discuss. So there will be total of 3 topics. But before that, let me introduce myself. I am Deepak, and I am from your own city, Delhi. And I am IT engineer by qualification. I did my BTech in 2010, and I am trading since 2002 when I was in school. So I have a very large, accidental history of prices. And I run a blog on my website indianstocks.com, and I'm an active on Twitter from ID Indian underscore stocks. So like in trading, it is every time suggested that one should aim to preserve the capital and not lose much. So that is my aim, and that is my focus also. Because if we survive a day, a fall, a year, we can always come back. So that is a lesson every time history has given us. Like in 2020 also, if we survived the March, then coming March we are already standing 2x, right? So coming to the content. So the topic number 1 will be IPO funda, how to buy stocks in newly listed company, or how to buy stocks when we have not got any allocation. Then topic number 2 will be understanding support and reversals. And topic number 3 will be stock ranking system and how we can, select stocks, not deep diving them, but based on a predefined format, and then look to add them into our portfolio. So I'll start with topic number 1, which is IPO funda, how to buy shares in newly listed company. So one idea is very simple. Like everyone of know that uh, you simply apply for the IPO, correct? But when you apply for the IPO, there are many things that are not in your control. So things that are not in your control are the allocation that you will be getting after the IPO process is over and the allocation process is over. So let's say, considering that you are a retail investor and you have applied for the maximum 2 lakh allocation that is there. So once you apply for that 2 lakh allocation and you get, let's say, one lot or one set of 14,000 type of allocation, and the stock then opens 2x, 100% gain. So you will not be making 2 lakh on your 2 lakh, but you will be making 14,000 on the your wishful allocation of 2 lakh, and that will be like 7% on the total capital set that you wanted to allocate. So what I'm trying to say here is that there is a hindrance in your path for allocation. First is the maximum 2 lakh, second is the allocation that you will be getting. So this simple strategy, which is applying for IPO, has these various pitfalls. Okay. Also, there are circumstances created, or there is hype created around IPO that this stock is, or this company is this much good, and some negativity also sometimes around them. So we don't know, because it is perceived that when a company does a successful listing, then the earnings also starts to decline if the stock is going down. So you have also observed the same, I think, right? So what is the solution to this? How we can allocate the allocation that we actually want to do? That I want to buy something, 10% of my portfolio, 5% of my portfolio. What is the solution? So applying for IPO is not. And if you think that you can apply in the account of your friends, your family, and then get allocation, then that is not the right way to approach, in my view. All right. So what I have come across with my experience in market is that you can buy stocks in open market after the listing is done. No one is stopping, right? So what I am doing is I am waiting for that kind of stocks which actually go down first and then come up. So we wait for market to stabilize after the listing of a stock. If the price of IPO, or you can say that the listing day, is not crossed in coming days, or you can say that the price trades below the listing day, not the IPO price, the listing day high or listing day low, then market. So that is the first selection criteria, that the stock should trade below the listing day high and lows. Then monitor the price and buy your allocation once the price closes above the highs. So these are some pointers, but I'll showcase you how actually we have to implement it with the help of various charts and things like that. So the main idea is that you buy the stock which is recently listed. When I call it recently listed, let's take a time frame of last 2 years, that a stock which has first gone down from its listing day level and made a low deep enough that whenever it comes back, it either has done something right, or it has, the market has changed its perception toward the company, let's say that. Okay. So once that trigger, a trigger will be when the stock hits a new high after going way lower. So when the stock hits that new high, we buy with the price target simply taking into account how much it has gone down previously. So let me give you a graphical representation of it. So taking example of this Prince Pipe company. So the stock had made a high of about 196 after listing, and then had gone down to a level of 70. Okay. So what I am trying to say here is that you don't buy it here or here or here, somewhere around here, or the IPO, whatever it is. The stock also had a negative perception in market, but we look to buy when the company, the price revisits the all-time high. Okay. So this point. So in August 2020, it revisited that level. And what I'm trying to say here is that a stock usually goes up by the same amount, by the amount it had gone down with. Okay. So it had gone down from 196 to 70. So that is about, a round figure of 130 point. So 130 you can add to 196 will be your, you know, upward target. So that will be like 320 price target on Prince Pipe if bought above 196. So that is the idea that I'm trying to say. Now, going back, so most IPO, are hyped. Everyone wants to apply. So the price discovery that takes place may not be, as per the valuation or anything like that. Then prices, when they move lower, that creates a panic among people. And that's a normal thing, right? I mean, let's take example of, let's say, Nazara Tech, which recently got listed. It opened at 2000, it went down to 1300 or something like that. If someone was holding or someone would have bought on the opening day, the only thought that would have come into his mind was, galti to nahi ho gayi hai. I mean, is it something wrong that I got into? Because the initial buying or the initial allocation or application in IPO or buying after listing is usually done in a hype. That okay, this is a gaming company, unique company, RJ has a stake in it, so let's buy, or let me buy. Or they don't think, or we don't know actually. So there is a lot of gray area around it, that we don't know the price history, we don't know the results of last 4 quarters, or how the company is going to announce result after listing, because it is quite normal that things change after listing, right? So there is a lot of gray area during around listing, lot of hype, and we don't know how it is going to settle. So what I'm trying to here do is that let us give it time, because we have a lot of time, right? Let us give it time. Only wait for company to stabilize, give it a few quarter of results, following everything, following the price, following the fundamental, how it is going and how it is doing. So we are waiting for a price point that it makes a comeback and hits all time high. So if I give you, you know, since all of you are fundamental guys, so if I give you one homework to, just to test, how were the result of this company Prince Pipe around there? What was the negative news around here? And how the results, the news, and the perception was around this price point? Okay. So that is a task that you need to follow. Next, stock. I mean, Prince Pipe, not only that there's one stock in market. A recent stock that I came across on which this IPO funda can be applied is Fluorocam. So this is a Gujarat Fluorocam, not a new listed stock, but a old listed stock, but demerged. Right. So this got listed in 2019, somewhere around October. So as you can see, the price from this level of 748 started to go down, kept going down only, and made a low of 200 odd. Now it has again made a comeback and has hit a new high. So this IPO funda logic applies to this now. And by that logic, this stock should now go up by the same amount by which it has gone down. So it comes out to be about 1240. So basically it had gone down by, you know, 550 odd. So 550 odd on the upside it should come. So now coming to the part how to define risk, or what should be the point of invalidation on this. So what I have seen is in the last many years that there is a high success rate for this. So as you guys are fundamental guys, I can say that you can use this study for short listing the stocks and do the analysis. If it fits your parameter of fundamentals, then you can look to buy. If it doesn't, you can take it as a technical trade and allocate that much percentage to it that you're willing to lose about 50% of the stock value. So let's say the stock gives a breakout at 750. So at least half of it, and allocate only that much as a quantity that you are willing to lose 50%. So I think that point is clear, right? So either do a fundamental analysis of that stock at that point and do allocation as per your conviction, or if you are going with the technical thing that I am suggesting to you, you can simply do take a stop loss of 50% calculation and do the quantity as per it. So let's say you have a risk of 10,000, then calculate the quantity accordingly. Now there is another stock that had show. I mean, this Fluorocam is a live example, which is rolling now. That this is the recent one that had done this IPO funda. So this we can review later that whether it went on to hit 1250 or not. So this is a futuristic example that just got active last week. Now this is another old example of SBI cards. So it had a listing day high around 768 or listing week high at around 768, fell down to 480 odd. So a dip of about 200 rupees. So when the prices revisit here, so the target was approximately plus 200 from this level of 770. So 990 was the target. The stock is trading काफी ऊपर उससे, right? So what changed in it? The perception changed. It was perceived as expensive at this level. Why it went here, or why it went above it? Why not expensive at 1160? So these things, I'll suggest that you do a check at your end, the fundamental analysis, why the perception got changed for this stock. Okay. So because in the heat of moment, we don't have that much time to react, but in this study, we are getting a lot of time. The stock selection criteria is very simple, that for all the stocks which are going down first are to be selected. And when they come back to the listing period high, then we have to look for a buy trade in them. And the targets price which are to be expected are the amount by which it had gone down, add to the listing day high to it. So like a rectangle. Another example to showcase not the success of the stocks that are selected, but the factor that how we can avoid the duds. So Reliance Power, Mrs. Bector Food, or this Kalyan Jewelers. So all are trading below their listing day or listing range highs. So we have got a lot of time now to analyze. So this may be a dud, this may not be a dud, is or is not, totally depend upon how it does. So I don't have a bias that I'll not buy it or I'll not buy Kalyan Jewelers. I will look to buy only when it crosses the listing day high. So I'm taking into account all the things that the merchant banker may have done or may not have done during that process. So we'll review the stock when it hits all-time high. We'll go for a target for the amount by which it has gone down. And Reliance Power, as you can see in the chart itself, it never was able to cross that listing day high. So we can be saved from that also. Right. So that marks the end of topic number 1, IPO Funda. If you guys have any running questions, just let me know. I'll take them. IPOs like demand, okay, which keep making you high immediately. So yeah, Ashish, a very good question, but this study is not for the stocks which are making new highs. It is only for the stocks which have actually gone down first. Market has forgotten. Everyone who wanted to sell them had sold them, and price making new high makes us believe that there might be some change that has happened in the company. So why I'm selecting them and not DMart kind of company, which is actually making or has listed at twice of the IPO issue price and consistently went up. The only reason is because the companies like the previous showcased example provide a good risk reward in the entry perspective, and not a lot of people are in that trade. So when a lot of people are not in a trade and no one is looking, that's where market can give a easy pass, right? So I find it easy to trade, and there are limited number of opportunities also. So I give a allocation simply based on whenever the stock makes a comeback. It's a good risk reward trade, so that is why I take this, and not I don't have a fundamental brain, so I don't use it also. So yeah, DMART gets missed in that. So stop loss, I take 50% as a risk reward for it. So if the stock breaks 50% level from the the triggered level, I'll exit. The listing highs. So if I talk about listing highs, I'm talking about this high. So recent high after the listing. So basically all-time highs. So the targets is simply all-time high minus all-time low added to the all-time high. So there is one more example. I have not taken it because then it will look like that I am only taking the winners. Happiest Mind. Just pulling out the chart for your reference. So this stock had this listing day high and it went on to hit this low. Around here it made a high and crossed it. So basically it became a buy above 394 and with the expectation of 80 point gain, 85 point gain, which it accidentally did it in a day. So not taking all the winners, just wanted to showcase how it is a better risk reward kind of strategy. Also number of entries or number of trades are also less. Also like highlighted while answering Ashish that the people who wanted to sell have already sold looking at the price because due to lack of information and all. Everyone who wanted to exit has exited and it has then become a low risk trade or less crowded trade. Okay, so I think that any example which SL hit, I have not came across any example which hit SL, but I can take a dirty name in this one, PC Jewelers. That stock also was one among the IPO funda and was the first one that I traded in this study. So this was here. So this was the listing around price high 97 and it got triggered around this in 2014. So from 97 and it had gone down to 30. So it was about a 60 odd point price uh, which was to be captured. So I mean, it did what it did. So I mean, yeah, it did what it did. So I mean, it also did it. Is the point. Eventually came down. I mean, that's fine. But yeah, it did also what it had to do. Since success rate is high, that is why I want to keep 50% as stop loss because I want it to, I want the trade to stay because if we keep that let's say 20% stop loss or something like that it may give us an exit and eventually go up and hit the view. But to keep the trade longer, a 50% is a very decent risk to take. And since it is a study that I have told you and you may not be knowing about it, so it will give you a better conviction if you already know that what kind of risk you are entering it with. So as time crosses or as you see the study evolving, as you make it your own after trading or after investing in a few examples or upcoming stocks, then you will be better able to adapt to it and better able to trade the way you want to trade. Okay. So it is a framework that I wanted to share, and the risk is 50% just to give it time to play out. That is why. So there is a question from Hajivs. Uh, do you concentrate on chart patterns, support resistance, or any other indicators? Vision of trading you trade. Oh, I think that is irrelevant for this one. But yeah, I do look at support resistance, not RSI, not moving averages. And this is a free version of TradingView. All right. So let's move to next one. Topic 2, understanding the support and reversals. So I wanted to take a topic in which I would have, presented that where you can exit or how you can short. But since everyone here is an investor, I'll suggest the same thing, that where to enter or where to find a reversal for an entry. So let's go with the view that we are going into this topic as an investor and will apply to the stocks that we hold and we have a conviction around it, and we want to add allocation to the stock, or increase our allocation or buy something more about it. Yeah, Anand, I'll take that question in a bit. So since I've started the next topic. So for that, I'll do a base building around it. Some, fundamental ideas, how to look around that stock and how to look around a trend. So a basic technical trend in technicals is your Dow theory. So Dow theory basically is formations of higher high and higher low in the price. So like you check, you know, profits going up, sales going up. So it's just like that, the price going up. So a trend is established when there is such formation that the price makes higher high and higher low every time it is going up or down, basically not breaking the trend. So then that is called your uptrend. When the price starts to make lower lows and lower highs, that is when you call it start of a downtrend, or basically the prices are following, breaking the previous recent lows. So it is used to establish trend, and different time frames can give you different pictures of the same trend. So it is advised that for an investor, he usually follow the higher time frame. So basically a daily or a weekly chart should be followed by an investor, not a 5 or 15-minute chart, which a trader follows. Then there should be a marking of certain zones, which are called your demand zones or a supply zone. So basically demand zone is that level where buyers step in. So it is same thing like when a fundamental investor says that, okay, this is a level where I'm comfortable buying it. So what is a level where you are comfortable buying a stock? It is basically or usually the level that you have either bought previously, or you remember that the stock price made a was trading in that range previously. So something that you may have missed would have gone up and has revisited that level. So for example, let's say, just saying it for the purpose, that Reliance was at 1500 for a very long time. It went to 2300. So maybe you are not willing to buy it at 2300, but you remember that it was at 1500 for a very long time. So in hindsight, the 1500 will stick to your mind and it will be like, okay, I'll buy it when it comes to 1500. So it the the charts work like this only. People remember, and that is how the level and the references are formed. So that will be the demand zone, because people will remember that it was there at for a very long time. And again, the recent high or the high which is not being crossed by a stock. So the charts will show, the people will also remember that, okay, it was getting stuck at 2300. Next time it goes to 2300, I'll exit some part. So that is how the supply zones are created, or that is the basic logic why it should be expected that the price will halt at that level. Okay, pictorial representation of the trend. So this is your Nifty forming higher high, higher lows through this move of last year. And now, as you can see, it is getting stuck in a no trend. Basically, it is call it technically a trend, then it is a downtrend, but it is not going down. It is just sideways. If I ask you, what's the trend of this stock, or what was the resistance of this stock? So this stock had a resistance at 80. It crossed it with a big candle, came back to 80. The previously crossed resistance level became a support level. So what changed now? the perception changed. Previously, it was not able to cross 80. Everyone was of the view that 80 is a resistance. When the 80 level got crossed, then all the supply or the people who wanted to sell have already sold. Now 80 becomes a support for that price. And then the new journey started. Similarly, this example for Marico, um, 383 used to be a resistance. Then once this price got crossed by a big candle, I focus on this basically. When a resistance level or the price which was not crossed by a stock on many occasions gets crossed with a big candle. Big candle, I mean, big candle you can identify, right? Big price change at a resistance. So that is bullish. And once a resistance level is crossed by a big bullish candle, whenever the price revisits, it acts as a support. So price crossed 383, went to 430, came back to 383, again took a support, again went up. Then another example is your Balrampur Chini. 195 used to be a resistance. Price crossed it with help of again a big candle, again revisited it, held that level, and again went up. So these are few examples of how this should be read. It's not that it is always a sweet success which has to be tasted. There are some stocks like SBI. It gave a very brilliant breakout. There was a not even a candle. There was a gap. All the levels were crossed with a gap. It was trading in a clear breakout zone and didn't work out. Came back to that range. It didn't hold. It came down, and now it is again stuck in that range. So how to work or how to identify these? So basically, there are a lot of technical stuff that can be discussed, but we will focus on the basics that should be replicated or that are easy to replicate at a critical demand and supply juncture. So formation of high probability pattern at critical demand and supply zone increases the performance percentage of the stocks. So some of the basic candlestick patterns that I look for a trade are your pin bar or hammer at a reference, then your bullish or bearish engulfing at a reference. So when we call a reference, we are calling the demand and the supply zones. If you are having any difficulty in catching up, you can simply spend some time on Google and search for demand zone, supply zone, and sync us or sync together after this also. So this is how a pin bar looks like. So a pin bar which has this tail on the upside is a bearish pin bar, and a pin bar which has a tail on downside is a bullish pin bar. So I'll just give you a perception how it actually gets formed, or why it is a bullish candle or why it is a bearish candle. Because when I teach someone, I give enough emphasis on how it is forming, so that we know why it is bullish or bearish. So I'll do a bit of use of paint here. So this is a flat line. When the prices are going up, the candle looks like this. Okay. When we are talking about a bearish pin bar getting formed, so how does it form? The prices at day high, the candle looks like this, but when the price slides down and comes back to close lower, so that means there were sellers in the stock and the price came down. So this candle will be of this shape. So price range is same, but the only difference is that there was a presence of sellers which brought the price down, and and hence this is called a bearish pin bar. So now, is a bearish pin bar enough to take a negative view? No. But a bearish pin bar at a reference is enough to take a bearish view. So let me take example among these. I'm just going to take example among this chart. What I'll do is, so we are talking about a bearish pin bar here. And what I'm saying is, if a bearish pin bar formation takes place instead of this bullish candle. So if the candle here is of this shape, then this resistance will be resistance, and this is a negative candle. So basically meaning that at a reference, when the price wanted to break out, there were sellers that brought the price lower. So understood the difference between a breakout and this is a breakout, this is a filled breakout. Is this paint window visible or not? Yeah, okay. Sure, thanks. So this is the difference. So what I'm, yeah, okay. So what I'm trying to say here is that a bearish pin bar in itself is not enough, but a location is important, where it is getting formed. Similarly, a bullish pin bar, how it is formed. So a bullish pin bar, let's say this is a price range, or you can say that this is the lower end of the range, and the prices started to go down. Okay, the prices started to go down. So at one point when the prices are going down, it will look like this. But if the buyer comes and halts the price fall and brings the price back into the range, so the prices came back into the range, this is your bullish action, right? That prices came back into the range, prices became from bearish to bullish. So a perception changed, someone has brought the price back into the range, and that action happens at a support reference. So combination of both is bullish. So a bullish pin bar at a support is bullish. Why a bullish pin bar is bullish? Because the prices were actually trading very negative, but while at close the prices came back into the range. So that means someone bought from the seller and the prices came back. So when the prices came back, the action becomes bullish. So bullish pin bar at a support reference is bullish. A bearish pin bar at a bearish resistance reference is bearish. So that is the logic. So like in this example of Lupin, this was a resistance reference, there was a bearish pin bar, and this was a support reference, there was a bullish pin bar. So sell यहीं पे देखना है और buy नीचे में देखना है. Vice versa is not true. If you look for a bullish pin bar at the range high, that is not the way to look at technicals. And if you look at a bearish pin bar at range low, that is again not the way to look at technicals on a chart. Okay, so basically candle with respect to the location where it is forming is important. Then this is the example on Divi's lab chart. So there was some news or something. Uh, just a second, some disturbance from annotations. I'm disabling the annotation. Okay, yeah. So as you can see on Divi's lab, this was a support reference. This was a bullish pin bar. So at support it works. So this is the representation. Now how a trade can be initiated, or how an investor can take benefit from it. So it is quite simple. If you want to take benefit from it, you just simply no just a second, let me draw. You can simply buy above the high of this candle. So basically this is a bullish pin bar, so you buy above the high. You can keep this low as stop loss. So if you want to keep a stop loss, you keep a stop loss, or if you are not a trader, you don't keep a stop loss. So this is how I trade it, that I buy above the high of the bullish pin bar, and I keep the low of the bullish pin bar as stop loss. Okay. So the investors who want to add to existing position, this is a very good location to add to the trade. Now, moving on to the next and the last technical part on it. So this is a bullish or bearish engulfing. So we'll keep the references same. The support and the resistance references will remain same. We'll now understand what a bullish engulfing is and what a bearish engulfing is. Okay. So this pattern is formed when a large body candle completely covers the earlier candle. Okay. Now, what is important in this is not only that it should be, covering the previous candle. The important part is what is the prevailing trend of the stock, because such candles as a nature are trend changing candles. Okay. So that is the nature of these candles, that these will change the trend. So we discussed about trend, right, in Dow theory. Either it will be higher high higher low formation and a trend up is there, or a lower high lower low formation and trend down is there. So this candle actually is a candle which forms, or usually forms, at the ending point. You may have seen it at n number of locations or n number of stocks, or when a euphoria ends or when a panic ends, these type of candles are there mostly. So it basically changes the trend. If the previous trend is down and a bullish engulfing candle gets formed, then it changes the trend to up. If the previous trend is up and it forms at the high, then it changes the trend to down. So how a investor can benefit from it? So if your stock is consistently falling, I don't wish that it fall, but if it is falling and at a support reference it forms a bullish engulfing candle, then you can buy above the high of that bullish engulfing candle and add to the quantity. And if you are already holding a stock and you want to, or you want to, let's say, time it, or you are looking to, you are actually looking for excuse to exit a stock, then this is a perfect excuse after which you can lighten the position, or look for exit in a stock. So how it looks on a chart, this is a recent example of Titan. The stock went on to, not a recent example, a previous example. The stock at the range high formed a bearish engulfing candle, and the trend changes to down after that. Okay. Another example I posted on Twitter, Tata Steel BSL. Now, if it crosses the high, then I have to eat my words. But yeah, uh, this is how it looks. So I have to showcase that is my work. So a trend, prior trend is up, and at the top of the range, there is this bearish engulfing candle. So another feature of it, that it will have the higher volumes. So it has the higher volumes. It is at a range high. Again, it is also at a reference, previous resistance. So this is a previous resistance on the chart. There is a bearish engulfing candle there. So 1 plus 1 here adds to 2. So there are many examples where bearish engulfing candle forms at the range high. Such formations can take place in index also. Now in hindsight, The previous all-time high in Nifty in January 2020 also had this candle, a bearish engulfing at all-time high. So I am not in the business of proving that things work, but the probability of it working is there, and we have to look for a location and the candle formation. We have to add these two to it. So again, coming to the combination, if we are looking for a bearish engulfing, we are going to look at range high. If we are looking for a bullish engulfing, we are going to look at the range lower end. Okay. This bullish engulfing, as the name suggests, is a bullish pattern. This bearish engulfing, as the name suggests, is a bearish pattern. Okay. Now let us take questions around it. Waiting for your questions. So meanwhile, just looking at the question from Anand on IRFC. So yes, Anand, IRFC qualifies for it because it has gone down after listing. So all-time high at 26.7. It will trigger a buy only when it crosses that. So you can keep alert for that level. And the low it makes, if this 20 is a low or later it makes a low, or revisit this price 1 month, 2 month, 5 months, 6 months after today, then that will be a trigger. So you can keep a price alert for that. Push sir, you have some traders related questions. So usually as a trader, the price targets are kept as 1:1 or 1:2. If you're taking a risk of 10 rupees, you expect 10 rupees or 20 rupees. So, but what I am trying to suggest here is how an investor can look to add allocation to his portfolio or reduce allocation to his portfolio, not looking for 1:1 or 1:2 kind of trades, because right. You can look at any time frame, like I suggested at the start of the session, that as investors, one should not go below a daily time frame chart. So a daily, weekly time frame chart should be preferred for an investor. If you ask me personally, I trade on 1-minute chart also. So that is something I'm not teaching or preaching here. Ammar, your question is good, but I don't use any indicator. As an additional double filter, what you can do is you can, like I was suggesting for Tata Steel also, BSL, that you can add volume to your analysis, that whether there is higher volume in the bullish bearish candle which has formed at range high or range low. So rest assured, everything is a derivative of price and volume in technical analysis. So just focus on these two plain things, and there is nothing else to be looked at. Welcome. So I think these are the questions. Let me move to the topic number 3 for the day. Stock ranking system and mantra to portfolio building. So how many of you are actually using some maths or quant or portfolio driven strategy, which is basically not based on any technical or fundamental as such, but something which is very generic? So is anyone of you following that approach? That selecting stocks which are clearing a criteria, which is, if it is applicable to Naukri, then and applicable to Infosys, then you will not do partiality to anything. Or, you simply buy if the criteria is success. No, a yes or no will do. Okay, not as of now. All right. So recently, I was working on something that can there be a way in which I personally have not to look at any chart, or if you are as a fundamental investor are not required to look at all the balance sheet parameters manually, because we know, right, that if this ROE is greater than this percentage, or sales growth is this percentage, or debt is this percentage, or promoter holding is this percentage, or pledge is this or that, we know the basic filters, right? That these are the basic criteria a stock has to clear. Similarly, in technicals also, these are the basic, or some RSI should be above this, or another technical breakout pattern, CCI should be above it, or like I was saying, that a big candle breakout takes place. So we all know in hindsight that there is a fixed sort of things that we look for while selecting stocks. Rest, everyone knows that when market are good, everything goes up, and when markets are bad, nothing goes up. As general, not saying that nothing will go up, or something will, other things are always there if you are looking for 100x or 200x or 250x. um, but talking about the general public, everyone does not score above 90%, but yeah, nowadays they do. uh, but there are people who achieve or look to achieve 40-50% also, or someone like me who look to do 60% as a target to start with. So for that I came out with a thought that okay, let's do it in a systematic way, and let's build a portfolio which is based out of these rules. These rules means anything which fits your criteria. Okay. And then run a portfolio of, let's say, 20 stocks. Add 5 stocks a week to start with. Let's say we are starting today. Add 5 this week, add 5 next week, add 5 a week after, then a week after. And exits based upon, let's say, price change, or fundamental will not change, in a month or 2 months. So the parameter to exit, I mean, can be fundamental also after results, because it needs a quarter time to review. Uh, but a mix of fundamental and technicals do work well. So I'll start with showcasing this example first, and the theory later. So what I'm trying to achieve here is I have made this base sheet of technicals in which I'm taking all the stocks, the price change, the open, high, low, close, the quantity, the delivery, these few technical parameters, CCI, RSI, 20-day moving average, their day range, and the previous 14-day range. Then I've taken a base sheet from Screener. It has your industry, market cap, sales last year, sales growth, sales in 5 year, profit growth. So basically these free cash flow, 3 years, operating cash flow, profit after tax, OPM, debt, and this and that. I mean, I may not know about everyone, but yeah, being on Twitter helps. Free cash flow is in fashion since last 2 years, so I've taken that also. So enterprise value, EBITDA, pledge percentage, EPS, return on employed capital. So I have learned a thing or two from you guys. Change in promoter holding as a percentage. So we know that these things keep value, right? So what I came across is I did a market cap assignation first. That okay, under 10 CR nano cap, 500 CR micro cap, below 1500 CR it is a small cap, till 5,000 CR it is 5,000 CR and above is a mid cap. Above 15,000 CR is a large cap or a large mid cap. So I'm calling Reliance also as a large mid cap. Then pick and choose any parameter that you want to do. Assign a range and assign a rank to it. So I have assigned a rank to every parameter like this, that I am giving, the promoter holding is between range of 60 to 100. Then I'm assigning it a full mark from uh, this parameter. Till 45 to 60, I'm assigning it again a full mark. If it is between 30 to 45, I'm assigning it a half mark. Below 30, I'm assigning it a 25, 0.25 mark. So like this, for all technical and fundamental parameters, the numbers or the marking I have assigned. And this IPO funda that I was teaching moment before, I have assigned a straight 10 mark to it because I want to buy this stock because the success of this is good. So I have selected the stocks which have listed and are crossing their recent highs or listing days high. Whenever that stock comes into my technical parameter, will automatically be given a 10 mark so that it comes on top. I've clicked this link, so I have to wait now. So I mean things like this, then kill the Excel. Just a moment. Yeah. So things like that, and add 1+1 to everything. This is how it looks on a weekly time frame basis. That based on the category, these are the numbers. Add everything, a grand total of this technical and fundamental. स्क्रीनर वाले नंबर इधर आ गए, टेक्निकल वाले नंबर इधर आ गए, दोनों को ऐड कर दिया, then sort कर लिया every week. Comes out to like this. So now I am able to select a date, select a category, and do a top 10 analysis of the stocks which have the highest score. So basically I assigned points based on technical and fundamental to everything. And since I don't want to keep Reliance and Kaplan Point in same category, so assign the market cap filter also to it. So I can now assign a large cap. I can find the scores. I can simply do a mid cap and check which are the top 10 based on the sorting of the score. I can do a nano cap and check which are the top 10. So there was a post from Nuresh sometime back in which monkeys and fund managers were together in a room, and monkeys were asked to throw dart at stock names, and they outperformed the uh, bankers. So like I was saying then, that when markets are going up, everything goes up, so it basically doesn't matter much. So to keep it not that random that monkeys are throwing darts, so keeping a scoration and assigning and exiting when things are not working is the way to go in my view. And this is how a portfolio can be built in a effective manner. So now let's hear it, the thought process behind it, and why I think this should work or why this should be followed. I mean, I have actually showcased how it is, so now it will be very easy to replicate the thought. So what are the challenge for small investors for building a portfolio, or not for only for small investors? I'll say that this is a challenge for a large investor also, because there is a very prudent there is a time when you can actually move the market from your purchase if you are in the wrong category of stocks. So let's say someone who is worth 1,000 crores starts to buy Eveready or starts to buy this sugar stocks. So they very low free float. You can buy, you cannot exit. So 1,000 crore guy is not, ideally assigned for that category of stocks. So it is a problem for a HNI how to diversify enough so that there is reduced risk, because if someone buys 10, 15, 20% of a company, the company doesn't do well, he is practically the owner. We know RJ is owner of a few companies like Aptech because he was not able to exit. He bought that much in love of the education for IT guys. Anyway, then there are challenges like fundamental analysis. We think we know, but we don't know till it is too late, right? We have very good examples in the last bust cycle from Yes Bank, DHFL, even the best of best stock Piramal also fell from 2000 something to 500 odd. So, and India Bulls from 1400 to 100. So we don't know till we know that we don't know. So diversification is important. We cannot over allocate, and we know how social media is. There is a lot of noise around. So like in IPO also, we don't know because we don't have enough time, and in reality also we don't know about the already listing stocks also, that whether we want to buy or we are going in the heat of the moment. Then someone will tell you that you buy this because you are my friend, but no one will tell you when to exit, because they have to exit first because they are your friend. Also, I mean, it becomes difficult uh, because when you ask someone to buy, they may buy or they may not buy, or you are giving free advice in your goodwill, but the person will definitely buy only that stock which does not work, and then will blame you for your life. So things like that are very complex, so and very easy to find a solution. The solution I have already presented, that we can do the basic filters. We know a lot of knowledge being shared by Ashish sir in the group, or a lot of knowledge being shared by everyone on Twitter. There are a lot of fundamental guys, lot of fund manager that comes on TV. So we know the basics, that yeah, these 5 parameters I should be watchful about a stock or a company. So why can't I do a basic filter like the one I showed you? We can do, right? We can assign marks, we can assign number. We follow a lot of technical guys on Twitter. We know the basic, right? That when a breakout happens on the technical parameter, if the EMA is about 20, or stock is trading about 200 DMA, or there is a RSI breakout or CCI breakout, so everything is quant, right? Everything is defined by number. Why not generalize it? We can, right? I just showcased you, we can. So that is the whole idea. You can, based upon your risk, based upon your account size, based upon market conditions, you can define stocks, you can rank them, and you can allocate. Okay. So this is sort of a system that you can build on your own. So stock ranking system based on fundamental and technical parameter can give you an edge. A fundamental parameter is in itself is enough, but it needs a 3-month review for plus and minus. So that is why technical parameter is also important, because market is very dynamic in nowadays. Or I mean, it will not punish you for following technicals if you know fundamentals, or it will not punish me to follow fundamental also if I know technicals. So I follow both approaches. Then it gives you diversification. You can easily diversify. Since we are adding 5 stocks a week, and we stop when there are 20 in the portfolio, we add a new one only when there is an exit from the portfolio. So that way you can ride the tide, and you can exit when the tide has stopped. Then allocation as a percentage of portfolio. So I am going with 20 stocks with 5% flat. I do a weekly updation of the stock list. A stock list of top 10 names is always there, ready to go. But entry will be made only after a previous stock has exited from the list. Okay. So to initially fill the portfolio, a 5 stock a week approach is done from the top 10 selected. So I'll showcase the rules that I am following. So the rules are very simple. Basically, the top 10 stocks from the list is selected. Buy is initiated only in the names in which a new weekly high is created. So basically, if the stock breaks the previous week high, I buy. The stop loss is the 20 weekly moving average. Okay, and allocation is 5% of the portfolio. So the rules are simple. Exit rules are also simple. I'll showcase an example of this is a large mid cap portfolio, greater than 5,000 crore market cap, which I started to run from March because मेरा भी दिमाग थोड़ा लेट चला था. So कभी भी करो, it's never too late. So I am presenting you with this advantage, or so you can start from today or whenever you think that you are good now with the rules. So this is a sample which I ran on greater than 5,000 crore market cap stocks. So this is the performance. There are 2 exits till now. So this list is 22 stocks. So whenever there is a new exit, the new stocks will be added. If there is no exit, the new stocks will not be added and the portfolio will remain as is. So in the past 2 months on largest mid cap stocks, it has given a return of 10%. With respect to, let's say, mid cap 100 is a good enough parameter. It gave a return of 4.5%. It gave a return of 10%. So with no manual intervention, that out of top 10 stocks, let me buy this one. No, ranking is for this purpose, that I don't have to manually intervene why I should, prefer this or that. So like that. So things are as is. So I think, yeah. So this ends this topic. If you have any questions, suggestions, let me know. Also, just to tell you, I teach people to trade live in the market, because trading is a very difficult business, or trading is a very difficult thing to do. There are list of 17 studies that I follow, and I teach them only, and we implement them only, and nothing after or nothing outside of them. So in case you are interested, you can DM me on Twitter or write a mail on indianstocks@gmail.com. So now open to your questions if there are any. Any sectorial influence in portfolio building? Yes, you can. This was a idea that I presented, that you can do with respect to market cap or with respect to things like that. You can do it with respect to portfolio, with respect to sector also, that you add another tab which defines the sector of the stock. Actually, there is a tab in the sheet. I can do that. So just take out a filter from that and can do with respect to sector also. So in screener, like this, industry is defined. So this industry is defined. So maybe we can do more of generic, that electrodes we can add few or something like that, and we can merge these defined industries. Then let's say if we want to run a, like mutual funds are there, that okay, cyclicals or commodities or industrial or banking mutual fund or something जो भी है अपना, तो अपना allocation अगर किसी industry specific करना है, तो we sort it with respect to industry and find the top ranked name in that. Okay, exit slide I'll share. So that is not issue. You can keep it. You can check it from there. So yes, you can try different combination. I was presenting a basic idea. I'm not saying do what I'm doing. So that is why it is different. What I'm saying is that we can do like this. So you can do what you would like to do with that sort of data. Screener data is download. I mean, if you have a Screener Pro, you can download it on Excel. From Screener, I have not taken any, screen, or you can say that nothing is applied on this from Screener. It is the base sheet. I have just taken the headers or added the headers. You can simply select all also from Excel in that. Date time filter. I mean, this is basic of Excel. I think I'm updating the technical data every week, so I have this date. So if I want to see the previous week list, so I can just simply go to 30, and I can do that. These were the top 10 stocks of last week. If I want to see from a week before that, so that is for that purpose. So the scores are there, the ranking are there, the categories I can select. So it gives enough advantage or ease of doing business, like Modi ji also promotes. So ease of doing technical and fundamental analysis together. I was not doing this publicly available, but I did this week. I can do every week also, because it won't impact me. So based out of different market caps, I will publish this data every week. Yeah, but that will not help you, because that is based out of my rules. So what I'm promoting you is to set your own rules and make your own ranking system and do that. I'll share on Twitter. So that is not an issue. That is very secondary. That is fine. I mean, weekly allocation is 5%. So yes, if the data is influenced by sector rotation, then let it be, because that won't impact much, because the allocation is equal weight for every stock. And we are not looking to time the market. We are basically focusing that since every boat will be lifted, so we will be lifted with it. So okay. Yeah, finished. I think I'm done with the presentation.
Yes, Deepak.
Any questions from your side, or
No, thank you for the entire session. It was a great learning experience, especially this sheet with Screener.
yeah.
I think iske baad mein we'll do a session with Pratyush or something.
Okay, great.
On Screener. So thanks Deepak. Thanks for presenting, and we all learned a lot. I was sticking to the screen the entire while. Usually मैं उठकर चला जाता.
Thanks, and since it is a topic of your interest, that's why.
Yes, this is something new for us fundamental people, no? Because technicals is a weak point for us.
Yeah, I tried that. I don't go very deep into technicals. I just wanted to stick to basics, so
Yes.
that everyone is able to replicate.
Yes. Okay, thanks Deepak.
Thanks,
thanks for giving your time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks
for
everyone.
joining.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.